a song. Some of my earliest memories are musical, and in all my years, I've learned that songs are really powerful. I mean, they can make you laugh, they can make you cry, they can make you want to move, and they can transport you back to a specific place and time where you can remember exactly how cool the air was to breathe that day, or what color everything became under the streetlights when they come on at night. It's like an out-of-body experience. It's like coffee. It's magical. But why? So I want to get to the bottom of it. My name's Adam. I'm going to talk to every songwriter I can. And I'm going to find out first what they take in their coffee and then what it takes to make a great song. That's Coffee and a Song. Hey guys, welcome to the latest edition of Coffee and a Song. So glad you tuned in to watch us. I'm Adam. And while you have the chance, if you've been enjoying the show so far, make sure you go over to YouTube and you subscribe to our channel at Jackshot Records. Hit the bell notification so you know when the new episodes come out. As well, check the Jackshot Records Facebook page out. Like it, share it with your friends. Tell everybody you can about it because we're having a blast here. And we are in hot pursuit of what it takes to make a great song. So without further ado, my next guest today has been a gigging musician for 47 years. He's a bona fide guitar wizard by trade. And after he mastered the art of live performance, he began to write his own songs and has been doing so ever since. His interest in exploring and honing his songwriting craft has never diminished over the years, and if anything, it's become more focused and more deliberate some 38 years on. If you're from the area and you've been out dancing in the area, you may recognize him as the Axeman from the hardest working local band, the Accelerators, for the better part of 20 years. He's also well known by those in the know for his sunny disposition and his positive outlook on life and music. He's been a mentor and encourager to many local musicians and bands, and I am very happy to have the distinction of calling him my friend. Please welcome Mr. Percy Gavronsky. Percy.
Thanks, Adam.
Welcome to the show, brother.
My
Cheers.
head's getting big.
Wow. Crazy times these days, Percy.
Sure is.
Sure is.
Sure is.
Well, the stinging question, Percy, that I get by the way, the email is coffeeandasong@outlook.com. You can send us an email, and I've been getting emails. Everybody wants to know, Percy, once they found out you're on the show, what do you take in your coffee?
On long weekends, me and my wife Kathy, we have Bailey's in our coffee. Oh. And it works.
It does.
It works really good.
It'll cure what ails you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What about regular weekends?
You just cream and sugar or black, depending on the mood.
Yeah, sometimes just get her done. Black. Yeah, that's good. So you're kind of flexible.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's great. And is coffee your hot drink of choice?
Yes, it is.
What about the specialty coffee? Do you go for any of those?
I hope I can say this. I get White Goat coffee, and I grind my own beans, and I grind it really fine so it's super strong.
Yeah.
Get you a little rattle sometimes after about the 9th cup. But other than that.
And White Goat is? That's
a local coffee roasting outfit. I'm not up on their particulars, but their coffee is second to none. I like it.
Really good coffee, and it's a local outfit, so it's great to support local, right? Yeah, that's fantastic. So if you have to go for takeout coffee, you're driving, you got a road trip, what's your stop? Are you a Starbucks guy? You like Timmy's or McDonald's? Or
affectionately, we call them Rotten Ronnie's. I like McDonald's. Yes.
Okay, yeah, right on. Okay, so now I'm going to get to some of the real questions. These are the questions I want to know.
You bet.
Everybody out there wants to know about the coffee, but I want to know about the songs and the music. So how old were you when music came into your life?
Well, when I was a kid, there was always a guitar laying. My mom played, my dad played, so my first memory was some guitar laying on a bed or leaning against the wood stove or whatever, and I banged around on them a lot, but I didn't really get super interested until I think it was 1964. So I was 10 years old, and my sister and I watched the Beatles on Ed Sullivan.
Wow.
And it changed my life. I want to do that.
Wow.
Like I was the girls screaming and the reaction that my parents had to to the Beatles was amazing. Like, you know, you're already starting to get a bit rebellious at that age,
Yeah.
and I thought, if I can do that, you know, like that's just where you want to be when you're that age.
Wow.
And we bugged my mom for, she ended up getting us an electric guitar and an amp, and me and my sister would fight over who got to use it, and I just practiced and played all the time, learning whatever I could learn, and studying lyrics and just enjoying it. It was a game changer for me.
Wow.
That particular.
And that's such a historic moment.
Yeah.
I mean, the Beatles, I mean, like, you know, I'm a couple of years younger than you, and
At least,
you know, my generation knows about that moment.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear about it, and you try to understand the gravity of it, but I think it's one of those things that when you're of that time and nothing like that had been seen before, it just completely caught everybody off guard.
Oh, it sure did, because you know, times have changed, as
Right.
we all know. What if I was to say yeah to my parents in 1964? It was very disrespectful and stuff.
Yeah.
It was different times, and we were all singing "She Loves You," yeah, the next day at school, and the teachers were just mortified, and because we were young and rebellious, we loved it. We loved what it was doing to the. It wasn't really hurting anybody. It was just opening new aspects to appreciation of art of the day.
Yeah, I think of those times, you know, previous generations to that, you know, the teenagers coming up, they did whatever their father did. They wore the clothes that their father did. They had the same haircut as their father did. So, you know, bands like the Beatles and rock and roll coming into effect, I think, was the first time the teenagers felt like they had a voice.
I think that's
Is that
well
fair?
put. Yeah, I think
So I can't imagine. I mean, I'm a huge Beatles fan,
Oh, yeah.
a huge fan of that era of music. So I just can't imagine that was the catalyst. That's amazing. So
yes.
yeah. Okay, so I mean, you've obviously mentioned the Beatles, but who are some of your other early influences?
My mom used to love country music. She played lots of records. We had I don't know, you know, the automatic things that would drop a record, and we'd just stack them up. I liked Simon Garfunkel a lot.
Oh, yeah.
When Homeward Bound was one of my favorite songs when I was a kid.
Beautiful song. Beautiful songwriters, beautiful voices. I have to ask you about that record player, just because I remember record players even from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Was it a piece of furniture? Was it like the size of a piano and it took 7 guys to move it? And...
We weren't that affluent, so we had one that was portable. You close up like a suitcase. And,
beautiful.
But you could stack about 6 LPs or 45s if you got that little insert in the middle, and.
You mean that one?
There you go. That's the unit.
That's your education for today, folks. That's what that little symbol means, and that's what it's for, right there.
Yeah, I would stack. If you just let the record play out and you move that arm into a certain position, it would play the last record over and over and over again. And so I would always put my favorite record on the top, and then it would play, or it would drive my mom and my sisters crazy, but to hear Homeward Bound for 3 hours straight.
But you probably know to this day, you probably know almost every word of that song off the top of your head, right? Yeah, it's amazing the imprint that music has in your life early on. So where did you grow up?
I grew up, for the most part, in Edmonton, Alberta.
Okay.
I was born in Bonnyville, and I lived there till I was about 6, and then we moved to Edmonton, and I lived there till I was about 15, and then I came to Terrace, and I've been here ever since.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do you think that growing up where you did, I mean, obviously Terrace now has been the better part of your life, but even those early years, do you think that has an impact on how you look at music, or how you...
There wasn't the live music scene, or I wasn't old enough to go to any of those places, so I really didn't get exposed to like this until I came to Terrace.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right. What about formal training?
When I was just after I got married, I was playing in a cover band, and I was having difficulty figuring out songs, you know, like, and still record player and stuff. So I thought there's got to be an easier way. So I took theory with an old gentleman. He's no longer with us. Ted Taylor, his name was, and he taught theory. And I took it 2 years in a row just to catch up on the details, and that helped immensely. You know, like he called it interval training, being able to identify the distance between two notes. And once you kind of grasp that, oh, well, that's a different chord. You can figure out songs quite easy. And and our band repertoire accelerated rather quickly once I learned
Pun intended?
Yeah, there you go. But it was very helpful. I can't sight read, but if you put some notes in front of me, I could figure it out.
Right.
And then, but I wouldn't be playing it like.
I'm similar. To me, it becomes like algebra at that point.
Yeah.
I can go through and I can solve for X.
Yeah.
But by the time I did, the song's over.
Yeah.
So.
There you go.
Okay, so I'm going to dig into your songwriting philosophies a little bit. So when you hear a song that you like, or something that just captivates you, or something that makes you pay attention, what do you think it is about that song, or about songs in general, that captures your attention?
Well, it could be a riff, anything like just great vocals or a great mix or whatever. But I'm a real fan of lyrics. I love lyrics. I just I could read poetry if I wanted to. The music aspect makes the poetry even better. But for me, But I think that I'm getting lost for words here. I think that
that's okay.
Yeah, I think that the lyrics for me make it
compelling.
Like a song like Rush's "Time Stands Still." I'm long in the tooth, and I'm getting old, and that song is about growing old.
Yeah.
And it was, and so. All of the time signature changes and all, it's all cool and it's done very well, but the lyrics is what really grabs me on that, because it relates to my situation.
Sure, yeah.
And that's the part that I think that I
very epic lyrics from Rush, eh? Very very high level. It's amazing to me. Mm-hmm. So going back to the poetry thing,
yes,
I just want to know, because I'm curious about the music. I feel like I have a music machine in my brain that I've been cursed with. So if you were to sit down and read poetry, does your brain automatically put it to music as you do it?
Not always, but I can develop a cadence that'll help me remember I like to memorize things. I don't typically have a sheet in front of me. When I was a kid, Homeward Bound, I knew the lyrics. I would study. I was proud to know the lyrics to 8 or 10 Beatles songs. I just wanted to. It was important to me to learn that for whatever reason. I have no idea, but it helped me later on in life. I have a penchant for remembering lyrics.
Yeah.
When I played with the Accelerators, Todd would look at me sometimes, and I would know the lyrics to his songs because I heard it often enough.
So you could give him the cue.
Yeah.
Line. Yeah.
Well, he had to remember
so many songs,
yes.
right? Yeah, so, for sure. I find myself, and I'm just a couple of years younger than you, but I find over the last few years I've noticed that I have a harder time remembering lyrics, even to songs that I probably knew, inside out as a child. Even songs that I've written, I have a harder time remembering. Yes. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just your brain gets full at some point, or maybe.
Yeah, well, I know exactly what you're talking about, because whether it be lyrics or just day-to-day life, sometimes I go into the basement and I go like. What the hell am I down here? And then when you get back upstairs, you remember why you went.
That's right, exactly. Yeah. And then you get your cardio.
Yeah, it keeps you in shape.
Okay, so overall, like if you could boil it down, pretend this is our interview just starting right now, and I've only got one question to ask, and it's this: what makes a great song great? If it touches somebody in a way that, in a positive way, or a way that you can relate, like the lyrics or the music, whatever is vague enough that it can be applied to several different scenarios, and you can take something home with it that makes you feel good, or it makes you change your mind about a certain social aspect. Good art, I think, does that. Yeah. That's great. So often you hear about a songwriter or an artist who's written a song, and maybe it gains legs, and a lot of people appreciate it, and sometimes it takes on a new meaning of its own, because people will apply their own meaning to it, or it touches them in a way that maybe wasn't the artist's intention. So that's incredible. So for you, when you write a song, what's the process? How does it usually happen? Do you get an idea? Do you get lyrics? Do you?
A lot of times I'll be noodling around on the guitar and get a riff, or if there's something that I wanted to say, like, but it usually starts out with just a really vague concept, and then okay, well, a line comes up, and you think, okay, I'll run with that, and then now you have a topic, and then and it kind of mushrooms from there. It's not very scientific, or at least not my case. It's kind of like, I don't know, throwing darts, and okay, there's an idea, like. But then once it happens, I can get quite passionate about it. I like developing it and moving things around and adjusting and revising till I'm blue in the face, and I'm never quite happy with it.
Well, that's kind of the mentality of any craftsman, I think, right? You're always going to see the little imperfections in your mind, but you know. Are you ever surprised by, so when you say throwing darts and you're just kind of noodling around, so a concept might come to you in form, are you ever surprised by the concept? Has it ever caught you off guard, what you're writing about?
Actually, the song that I'm going to perform today, it sort of just happened. A lot of the lyrics just happened. Some of them were like gifts from the muse, if you will, when you're doing the mechanical part of songwriting, or when I am, I'm trying to do certain things as the song progresses, for dynamic and stuff. It's the crafting part, and I needed the song's called If We, and I wanted to say if we more as the song went, and I needed to say, so I'm thinking I need to say if we all the time, so I'm hunting around for it, and then that's the last line of the song, if we all the time, which it doesn't make sense now, but when you hear the tune, hopefully it does. And it was in front of me for hours, and I didn't realize it until I actually thought, hey, that'll work. And it was I'm actually kind of proud of the line, because it's abstract in a way that makes you think, or awesome. Makes me think anyway.
Yeah, awesome. And a good song should, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Okay. So generally it happens for you with a guitar riff maybe first or whatever. Yep. Do you scat the lyrics, or do you scat melodies, or how do you get your melodies in place or your lyrics? Is it?
Well, I start playing the riff, and then I start singing to develop the melody line. Right. And then a lot of times developing the melody line, you think, well, that isn't going to work because too many syllables, not enough syllables and stuff. So then you come up with a different word, and then suddenly, the song takes a turn to the left and either gets better or worse, and then you revise and you keep on going. I have pages and pages of unfinished songs, and I use them, and I steal a line from here, a line from there, so I think, that was a great idea, and then sometimes I cringe when I read some of the stuff I've written.
Well, I think we all do, but that's that self... you're your own worst critic kind of thing, right? Yeah. So do you have you have compiled unfinished songs? Do you also just keep lyrics? Like, do you hear a line when you're maybe talking to someone and think that'd make a great song, and write it down in a secret book somewhere?
Well, I've got a penchant for remembering that. Messing around with a friend, Kyle Gray. Yeah. He's got a gift sometimes, I think, for actually saying profound things without even realizing it, or at least for me, because we were being political and just having a few wobbly pops talking about the situation and political issues, and he said, we've got a massive billionaire problem, which I think is a great idea for a song.
Sure.
And that was the last thing he was thinking of when he said it. So sometimes you can just grasp things that are going by, and you think, and you store that away until you have a need for it, or if you're lucky, it might be on the current project you're working on.
Right. So do you have a verse and chorus for that one yet?
Not yet, no.
Okay. Do you think you find yourself writing in more than one genre, or do you even consider genre, or are you kind of like a rock guy, or are you a folk guy, or?
It's limited by my musical abilities. I couldn't write a really good jazz song because I'm not that that schooled in the real, like the intricacies of like harmony and theory and all that. So I tend to, I don't know what you'd call my stuff. It'd be just pop, I think.
Right. Yeah. Fair.
And just something that hopefully I will affect you in some way.
Well, one of the things that I've noticed about your songwriting, I think, and in the songs that I've had the pleasure of listening to, has there's a few reoccurring themes, and one of them is positivity.
Okay.
You're always super positive. Catchy and poppy is another thing that comes to mind, but as well, I think clever and sometimes bordering or purposely on the side of humorous too, right? Comes into play. So I love the fact that they're uplifting, happy, and positive. I mean, you're known for your sunny disposition. That was in the intro. So, in fact, I heard your nickname is Sunshine. Is there truth to that?
Yeah, that was Tony DeMello.
That's right. He still reminds me about that. Yeah, and I agree, because I tell you, like, I could be having my worst day, and if I run into you, all of a sudden I'm having a good day. So that don't ever
thank
apologize.
you. I'll take that as a compliment.
Do you use your phone as a writing tool? Do you store melodies?
I use it more for listening, so I'll do a rough recording of what I'm working on, and then when I'm at work, I have hearing protection that will Bluetooth to my phone, and so I can listen to this over and over again and critique myself and say, okay, this sucks. Right. This is I need to work more on that. I need to work on my pitch, things like that. But the phone is immense. I don't know how we got along without them.
It's really become the writer's tool now. I think, because you can put lyrics in there. I mean, I'm asking. This is a tablet, but this is where I stored my questions. Yeah. But you can do all that. You can put lyrics. You can melodies. Like, I've done it myself. You're kind of driving, and I don't use my phone and drive, but you pull over and hit the button, and then you sing a song maybe that comes to mind or whatever, and you got that.
Yes,
and it's stored there forever. And maybe you never finish it. That's what happens to me.
That's right.
Okay, so obviously you're known for your guitar work. You're a guitar player, and is that the majority of your writing? Is guitar, or do you ever use other instruments?
Guitar. I have a ukulele too, and we used to have a piano when my children were learning piano when they were younger, and I messed around with that a little bit. I love the linearness of a piano, so it's neat. No open strings on a piano, but guitar is my instrument of choice, and I like it. I'm comfortable with it.
Right. Is there a guitar player that stands out in your mind that was like, that's the reason why you sleep with your guitar at night now and stuff? You know what I mean? Like, is there one that grabbed your attention when you were young?
Actually, Duane Allman. I used to like his playing, and then the other, I think Dickie Betts, from same guy. They just played these tasty little riffs, and I would listen to them over and over again and try to learn them on what I had. And then Eric Clapton and all, they were a little bit. I didn't feel good enough to learn some of that stuff. It was so done so well.
Right.
Yeah. But I would listen to it over and over again. But I was almost scared to try it, because I thought, I want to mess this up.
Felt like it was too advanced.
Yeah.
But it still probably influenced you.
Oh, huge. Yes.
And now that you're at the point, you probably cop those licks now without even thinking about it, right?
It's over the years you've managed to.
So, Duane Allman, have you, going back to the Allman Brothers again, and specifically Duane Allman, kind of his later year replacement, before they called it a day, was Derek Trucks. Are you familiar with his playing at all?
I'm not going to say I am.
Okay.
No, but in many ways.
He's, his uncle was Butch Trucks, who was one of the original drummers for the Allman Brothers.
Right.
And so he grew up around those guys in some capacity, and he became a child prodigy on the guitar and slide, and emulates a lot of Duane Allman's playing in his own, and I think he's probably one of the greatest guitar players on the planet today. So you got to check out Derek Trucks.
Another guitarist that I really admire, and I don't, not so much for his fingerboard prowess as his choice of melody. It was George Harrison. He just the solo in Something is
incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible song. I mean, What I mean, I get why you'd be an underrated songwriter if you're in the company of Lennon and McCartney, which he was, and he was like the younger brother. So screw off George or whatever. But
he was my favorite Beatle.
Incredible, and actually, I think is a bit underrated. In '94 or '95, whenever they come out with the anthology and they released that new song called "Free as a Bird," I don't know if you've heard that one, but he plays a slide solo in that, and it's just so on point. I think it's one of the tastiest.
Cool.
Yeah, that's worth checking out. So do you have a pattern you follow when you write? Do you do like verse, chorus, bridge, or?
Some songwriters tragically hip and Rush. They kind of follow the preset pattern, but they always deviate from it. The second chorus will be shorter or longer.
Right.
Yeah, they will do things like that, and I think I like that.
Yeah.
It might be a bit abstract, but I prefer
keep me guessing.
Yeah. The unexpected always makes you more alert. It attracts your ear, I think. As a, but that's just me.
No, I think that's a lot of people, and I think that's. 'Cause otherwise, everything would sound the same, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I watched a program the other night, and James Taylor was on there, and I think it was Colbert. But anyways, he says, "What advice can you give to songwriters?" And he says, "Take a song and change it." And it was at first I didn't know what he meant. He says, "Take a song." He says, "You have a roadmap." He said, "Change the melody, change the chords, change the lyrics, change everything." And nobody will know what song you use, but having a guide will find a song that you like and then
right.
change it.
Yeah.
And then of course he played a song, and Colbert said to him, "What song did you do that?" He said, "Unfortunately, I wasn't subscribing to that particular method when I wrote this one." I don't know whether he was telling the truth or not, but he didn't want to get into trouble.
Probably didn't want to lose the publishing or have to give up any publishing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So some songwriters subscribe to the philosophy that a song isn't actually finished until you've played it out and for people. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like your songs are meant to be played?
It's like taking your clothes off in public, because I'm nervous. You of course you want it to be accepted, and you want to put your best foot forward, and you don't want to mess up. And the older you get, for me, it's easier to see my deficiencies. I know what I'm good at and what I'm not at, and so I have to work on the aspects that I'm not good at. But if I think once I've played it for somebody, and if I get acceptance, then I would consider it finished. It may, if I ever had some success with it, it would probably change again. Like that.
Right.
But after a while, I consider it done when I would possibly lose interest in it and move on to a different one.
Yeah. Do you find that happens a lot? Like, do you ever get, because I know for me, whatever I'm working on that day for a song, that's my favorite song.
Yes.
And then I'm notorious for finishing a verse and a chorus and then putting it away, thinking I'm going to come back to it, and then I move on to the next favorite song.
Yeah. But then if you have however you store it, sometimes you come back to it, or for me, I come back to it a couple years later, a couple months later, and I go like, "Oh wow!" And suddenly the wheels start turning again, and I carry on. Sometimes I think the professional guys call it putting it in the can.
Yeah.
You just stick it away for a while and let it ferment.
Yeah.
And then you pull it out and you think, okay, yeah, I can do something with this, because you have a whole new fresh set of ideas that you didn't when you put it into the can. So to speak.
Yeah, right on. Have you ever found an old song that you forgot you wrote? Have you ever found a little tidbit that you're like, where the hell did this come from?
Yeah. The other day, I can't remember exactly which one it was, but I used a line of one of my old songs on my wife. And she said, "Where the hell did that come from?" And oh yeah, so I told her, as she rolled her eyes. It was all good fun.
Hey, reuse, recycle. How's the saying go? Yeah, that's right.
That's it.
So I'm going to go back to the question you mentioned. Colbert said the other day. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to turn it around on you, and that's. Someone's picking up an instrument right now and they just learned enough chords to start writing a song, and they want to write a song. What would you tell them? What advice would you give them to kind of break through that initial wall?
Well, if you can get and just of course in my opinion, but if you can get those four chords that you mentioned, if you can get to play them so then it's a little bit more automatic, where you're not thinking of every finger on every string, but the muscle memory, you just get to the chord, then that gives you a bit more freedom for your mind to, and just sing whatever you feel. Right. And it was and just keep on going at it, and your wife or your sister or whatever might laugh at you for a bit, but just keep on doing it, and it will take shape, especially if you some folks are better at it than others, and but I think anybody can write a song, and I think anybody can write a good song.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So here's another one. This is personal taste, I guess, but what's a famous song that you wish you wrote? Oh. You know, all money aside, if there's just a song out there just that, you know, you just think, man, I wish I'd written that. I know there's...
Time Stands Still.
Time Stands Still. Wow, yeah. Because that's a great lyrical song. Yeah, and Neil Peart, I believe, did the lyrics for that, right? He did most of their lyrical writing, and we lost Neil, but... Yeah, what a great song. Mm-hmm. What a great song. And so relevant to you right now, as you said.
It's I fell in love with that song when I was about, I don't know, when it first came out. I was 38. I thought I was old then. And now, it just, every time I hear it, I just think, I find something new that stirs me one way or the other.
But, age and all those things, like it's easy to say how you feel your age on any day you wake up, maybe you have an ache that wasn't there before or whatever, there's all those things. Yeah. And then other people say age is just a number. But really, musically, I think as a musician, do you feel like time has stood still for you as a musician? Like, you still feel the same way about music?
I feel... like yes, I will till the day I die.
I don't think we age that way, do we?
No. But one thing I notice about getting older, and this can apply to songwriting, is at least in my mind, things are easier to see, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Like when I was younger, I was pretty hard-nosed, and I was... As I've gotten older, I've softened my position on a lot of, and I've had a complete 180 on a lot of political aspects that I wouldn't have had otherwise. I was, there's advantages to growing old. None of them are the aches and pains and the memory and all that, but there's a lot of other stuff that I learned a lot from my dad.
Yeah.
And he had a saying, look over the top, and that meant don't, if somebody's being a little harsh to you, and they're a good person, just let it go. Right. Just let it go. And there's an idea for a song there, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah. Look over the top.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. I think, as you age, you gain the perspective thing and the hindsight. They say hindsight's 20/20. Well, when you get to a certain age, you got a lot of hindsight.
Yes,
so yeah.
And you got to remember when you get old not to be condescending. You got to listen. Listening is what makes a great band.
That's right.
When everybody's listening to each other, 1 + 1 + 1 = 15. That was the Accelerators formula. It worked well.
And I've noticed this with you as a player, just the times that we've gotten to jam. You're a listening player, and I've noticed that. And that's not something that everybody, especially guitar players, we're notorious for wanting to increase volume and play more solos. But you're a listening player. You listen to what's going on, and you just basically serve the song at that point. And I think that's a good attribute.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's something that if you want to be successful in a band, I think it's a great thing to work on.
Yeah.
To listen to what the others are doing and to say what needs to be said, like musically.
Yep.
And when you find that common ground with a bunch of with some musicians, it's magic. It's nice.
Well, and it shows because you managed to hold together a band for 20 years, which...
that wasn't my doing, but I was glad to be part of it.
You were part of it. That's good. That's not... Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the song you brought today. It's called If We.
If We, yes.
How did this song come about? Where did this come from?
I was just thinking about our current situation, and I'm noticing things that are, it's an awful thing what's happening.
Yeah.
But there's some positive aspects to it, like suddenly there seems to be money for people in places that didn't have it anymore. There's less pollution in certain parts. I know a lot of people are short of money because they're not working and stuff, but and so that's the negative. But the positive is the air's a little bit cleaner in northern Italy, you know, and things like that, and being just trying to be, you know, Dr. Bonnie Henry, be kind, you know, like that's what we should do.
Yeah,
I think.
On. Well, again, another positive outlook from Mr. Sunshine. So I can't wait to hear the song. So
Okay.
You ready?
Oh yeah, I guess.
Take us away, Percy Gavronsky with If We.
Oh crap! Excuse me, folks. If we listen carefully to our hearts this time, when we turn around, it should be easy to see who is standing at the end of the line. If we choose to open up our eyes and our minds, then we won't make the same mistakes again. Nobody will get left behind. If we turn around, it should be easy to see who is standing at the end of the line. Nobody will get left behind. If we laugh or if we cry, kindness knows the reason why. If we hold tomorrow high, we'll live completely till we die. If we love or if we hate, if we change our mind, if we dare to dream out loud, if we all the time. If we turn around, it should be easy to see who is standing at the end of the line. If we don't make the same mistakes again, nobody will get left behind. If we hold tomorrow high, we'll live completely till we die. If we dare to dream out loud, if we all the time, if we all the time, if we all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I know why that line makes sense now. That was brilliant. I love that.
Thank you.
And again, like positivity. I love that.
Okay.
And it's a song about, I feel like it's a song about hope. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah,
very
exactly.
hopeful. I mean, that's, especially with the state that the world is in right now, if we can use anything, it's more songs about hope and positivity.
Yes.
Fantastic job, brother. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Wow. Well, Percy, this has been an honor, and I hope you're going to come back and do it all over again.
Oh, yeah.
Got to drink the coffee.
I would love to.
One last thing I need to do, and that's I need you to sign the cup of fame here for Coffee and a Song.
Can I print?
Yeah. Block letters, whatever you like, man. You can draw a picture if you like.
How cool.
Beautiful. So we're going to have Percy back on this show as soon as we can. And once we know more about the... Thank you, brother. Once we know more about the status of gigs and things in the world, we'll let you know where you can find Percy hanging out and doing his thing. It's been a great pleasure to have him on the show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure you go over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, go over to our Facebook page, like the page, share the videos, whatever you got to do. That's Jackshot Records, either on YouTube or Facebook. And yeah, we're really enjoying this journey. Hope you are too. Feel free to shoot us an email or make a comment. Let us know how we're doing. And until the next show, take care. We'll see you soon.